What if I told you there was a way to snowboard without snow? Well, there is, and that's called a freeboard. It's a clever device. At first glance looks like any other skateboard or longboard you've seen, but really it's absolutely nothing alike and so much more like a snowboard than you could ever imagine. How can this be, and how do they achieve this? Well, let's take a deep dive and find out how. But before we dive any further into this video, I would like to give a huge shout out to Easy Riders and Lewis Hartree, both without which this video would not have been possible. Alright, back to the main presentation. So, what sets the freeboard apart from skateboards and longboards is the extra long trucks, as you can see here, and the pivot wheels in the middle. These create a distance between the ground on one side, between the wheel and the ground. This is called rocker, and then from leaning from one side to the other and using those edges, you can use that to imitate a snowboard, and you'd be surprised how similar it actually is. It's incredible. As well as that, you've got these toe hooks / bindings on the top, which you use to put your feet into. You can set them toe out, sort of like in duck stance, I suppose, or you can set them more parallel. And yes, it's a fantastic piece of kit. Using the freeboard, you can turn any slope, any piece of ground into a snowboard slope. So no longer do you need the snow, no longer do you need access to the mountains, no longer do you need snowboard equipment. You can go snowboarding on the concrete around by you for a very low price, and I'm going to tell you how you can do this using a freeboard. And it all started on Christmas Day. Randomly, the YouTube algorithm suggested a video to me by the wonderful Easy Riders. Big shout out to Sasha for bringing freeboarding into my life and into my radar for the first time. On YouTube on Christmas Day, this video appeared on my algorithm, and it was a guide to what is concrete snowboarding. I clicked on this video and I just knew as soon as I saw one I had to have one too. Now, shout out to Easy Riders. He's been putting out a load of content recently, including actually over a year of freeboarding, including getting Freeboard Europe Rookie of the Year. Woo, 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 woo. Making it over to Europe recently with some of the Freeboard Europe crew. Video above and in the description, and he shows how using the freeboard he learned to snowboard without ever stepping on snow, and he steps on the snow for the first time in his snowboard, and you'll be absolutely amazed what happens. That's what happens when you get a freeboard. So I'm going to tell you how a freeboard achieves this in just a moment. But I also want to shout out Lewis Hartree. I couldn't find him on YouTube. I believe he has an Instagram. He is the guy on Facebook Marketplace who I got mine from. We managed to arrange a bit of a deal, and he managed to arrange a good deal on postage for me through his work. So big up Lewis, who sent me a free deck as well. It's the G3R, I believe, and it's cost me I think it was 100 British pounds, which I think is about $150 or about 150 euros, and that's my first setup. I snowboarded back in 2009, 2010 and 2011. I did 3 individual trips away on those years, but I would still consider myself an amateur snowboarder. Didn't really get much chance to practice outside of going away, so yeah, I still remember what it felt like. Unfortunately, I never ever tried it with a prosthetic leg, certainly not with a prosthetic knee, and that's where the challenges came for me. It was an absolute challenge to get to stay on the board. I felt so frustrated, I felt so annoyed, but once I got it, and I think you guys could get it a lot faster than I can. But when you get going, I can safely say now, it feels, when you're carving those edges and you're turning, it is so similar to snowboarding. It's absolutely unreal. It's absolutely nothing like skateboarding, though. I will warn you, if you're planning to have a go, and I would certainly recommend, if you get a chance, really do. If you're a snowboarder and you've never used one before, I'd be interested to see what you think. I will say concrete hurts. That is the big difference between snow and concrete. Snow does hurt. Concrete hurts even more. Concrete and tarmac definitely hurts. So I would thoroughly recommend, if you can get a pair of impact like crash shorts, armoured shorts, wrist guards, pretty good idea, and optional, I'd say maybe gloves, downhill skateboarding, like longboarding ones, which had slide pads on them, which I found to be quite helpful, so when I could put my hand down. The problem I found is, with having a prosthetic leg, it was incredibly difficult to get my prosthetic foot to stay under the binding. It took me quite a lot of binding, adjustment, fiddling, tweaking. You could adjust the angle. You can also adjust the up and down. So, you know, you can, depending on what shoe you've got and such alike. You don't have to have them both facing the same like amount of degrees in or out. You can have them so they're both facing with positive camber, I think they call it, so they're both facing slightly forwards. Depending what you're doing, you can do downhill, you can just do like random, any sort of slope or path really. The great thing about snowboards, if you've never used one before, unlike skateboards and longboards, they can gather up a lot of speed. You can certainly get up an incredibly large amount of speed on a freeboard, but you could also lose that speed and carve it and slide it away extremely quickly. It feels a lot more stable when you're going down a slope on a snowboard. You get that same effect where if you're coming to something that's quite steep and you're getting a bit too much speed and you need to slow down, you can usually put on some edge to it and sort of really lose that speed quite quickly. So it's quite helpful to be able to do that. It is an absolutely awesome piece of kit. The other thing you can do with it is you can like street skate with it. There was a way of pushing with it as well, which I did eventually manage to learn in the video. And then you can sort of do like freestyle, like flat landy type stuff as well, which involves what they call like butters and presses, pretzels, and all these kind of awesome maneuvers, and like 180s, 360s. Like you can do like flat 360s, you could do like a flat 720, front side, back side. There's loads of really cool kind of things you can do, and the way you combine them together, it's really quite unlike anything I've really ever done before, but it was so reminiscent of snowboarding to me. Once I got that feeling and once I got going with the board, I can certainly feel the feeling and how similar it is. And when you're turning and you're transferring from edge to edge as you're going down the slope, it's an incredible feeling. And I think I'm about 6 or 7 weeks into owning one now, and I can't believe how much I enjoy it. So alright guys, over and out for now. The first few days on the freeboard, I fell over and over and over and over some more. Yep. I will warn you, the first few days can take quite a few stumbles. Even just getting on the board was incredibly frustrating. It'd been a long time since I could even remember what snowboarding felt like, and certainly had not been on any kind of contraption like this before with a prosthetic leg, so that's what I'm going to blame. But yeah, once I actually started to get the hang of holding an edge, things started to change quite quickly, and suddenly found myself being able to actually go in a straight line, turn a little bit, and even start to do little sort of ollies and other kind of strange little tricks, having a bit of a play around. It was so much fun to realise that I could actually start to turn across the slope, and after a bit of practice and watching some snowboard tutorials, I managed to learn how to carve a little bit, or certainly link turns from heel to toe side, and yeah, it really was a bit of a battle actually getting it, but I'm still learning very much, as you can see. But the first few days were very up and down. Once the first few days had gone by, because I had to go on most days, I suddenly found I could hold that line and I was skating across like I felt like I suddenly knew what I was doing. At the same time, I suddenly found out I could push the board. This is quite difficult. Easy Riders and Freeboard Europe and a few others do some fantastic tutorials on how to push on a freeboard, and there's also a great video on how to get started with a freeboard. I'll put links to both those videos above and in the description below. But so once you've got yourself locked in and you're starting to turn and you can stop and all these good things, you can start to do ollies, you can start to do 180s, you can do half cabs, you can do so many fun things. You can do overslides, you can jump down the curb, you can do grinds and slides. And after a few weeks, I was starting to find my confidence had increased quite considerably. I was jumping down the curb, certainly, even doing it switch occasionally, which was really quite fantastic and fun. Learning freestyle was also great fun, and also trying to learn how to ride switch just generally. I would recommend doing it quite early on because you might as well just get on with it. Freestyle tricks such as nose presses, and just like tail presses, all these good things. Flat 360s, you can do like a jump 360. There's so many different flat tricks you can do. Are really great fun, all about style. Loads of cool tricks out there, very much reminiscent of snowboarding. Getting locked into the bindings is still definitely a challenge, and I find if I've got the wrong shoes on and I forgot to adjust the binding height, or like the other day, as I said, snow can be hard, but concrete and tarmac is definitely harder, so you're going to fall and hit it harder. So believe you me when I say take the time, take the pain out of it, just buy yourself some impact shorts. I've got a review coming out on a pair very soon. A lot of pain out of the learning process. Every time I get out on the board, I feel like I get just another little grain of confidence. Makes you feel a little bit better. This is an activity where being able to bend the knees is absolutely essential, and since I have a prosthetic knee of the most basic variety, when I bend it, I've got to be very careful because usually if you've got the weight in the wrong place, it will collapse from under you. But I found a way if I squat into it and hold the weight and balance it a certain way, kind of using physics and weird things I suppose and biomechanics, that I can do it and I can achieve this. So I'm trying to apply that now to my freeboarding and also to my skateboarding. Skateboarding, you can get away with that bending your knees like a little bit, well certainly like, you know, when you're landing things or what have you, but for freeboarding, which is like snowboarding, you use your knees and your hips an awful lot. You want to have a nice stacked upright but sort of athletic position where your knees are stacked over your feet, your belly button stacked, your spine, upright position, and you can also like use your head to turn where you want to go. Your hands, your arms you can lift at your side, or like you can put one out in front and one behind you to help aid your turning and such alike. But yes, it is very much like snowboarding. Yeah, there's plenty of really good channels out there with lots of really great tutorials. That's where I've been learning a lot of my stuff, as there doesn't seem to be a lot of freeboard specific content on the Tinternet. So hashtag Freeboard 2024. Gonna get more clips onto Instagram. I've had shorts out as well, just so to give you an idea. I've been riding now for, as I said, about 6 or 7 weeks, and I'm getting really, really excited about the progress I'm making. Unfortunately, the faster you go, the harder you fall. I've been able to skate down some pavements as well, which have been quite a lot narrower, really testing my skills, trying to learn to skate switch, as I said, that's basically linking the turns in switch. It's kind of scary, especially going onto the toe side. It's just like snowboards. If you're a snowboarder, you know if you drop an edge, you can go flying, and this is absolutely the same in freeboarding. So if you drop an edge, especially when you're on your toe side and you drop your toe side and actually drop the heel side down and you go backwards, it's the most horrible. It's like a blind side, and if you're not wearing a helmet, you end up hitting the back of your head and all sorts of horrible things. So it's the most horrible way to fall. Snowboarders hate it. Freeboarders hate it even more. If you're lucky and you manage to get a bit of notice and whatever, you might be able to, if you're like better than me anyway, certainly get out of the bindings in time. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I'd definitely say freeboarding is something with the art of learning to fall and accepting to fall, definitely. But once you get going, you won't regret it. I think that if you're like me getting started, Sasha Easy Riders does a fantastic guide to freeboarding. in 2023 and 2024. Put a link above and below for those, so that'll give you an idea what to spend on, what sort of money, what the features are that differ between the different generations of Freeboard. As it's been out, I think, since 1998, so it actually does have quite a long history now. It's just one of those, it's a very, I don't say niche sport, but it is very unique, knowing that it doesn't matter whether it's snowing or not, well, it doesn't matter what the weather's doing, I can just grab my Freeboard and I can hit the slopes. It's a definitely unique way to get around and see places. You have so much fun once you actually start to get control of this thing. It just seems like so much fun. All of a sudden it clicks, and once you do it, it makes you realise it was all worthwhile. But you've been watching Amputee Adele learning how to freeboard, a guide to getting into freeboarding. What on earth is a freeboard, and who needs snow and who needs money? As anyone knows, learning to snowboard where you need snow, lift tickets, you need to spend, a few $100, at least on dollars on snowboarding equipment just to get yourself anywhere near a slope. And if you live in the UK and you actually want to go abroad, well, of course you've got to pay for the flights as well. And so learning to snowboard, it can be a very expensive thing. I'd be very interested to find out what happens from here, and learning to snowboard using the Freeboard. It's certainly hopefully going to save me a lot of money getting into that, and it's something I look forward to spreading the shred around in the future. If you're interested in this wonderful sport, feel free to message me, leave it in the comments below, all that good stuff. And if you're interested in watching somebody who's way better at me at doing this, then you need to check out Easy Rider's YouTube channel, and you also need to go to Freebord Europe, entitled Urethane. With the Freeboard you can snowboard the streets. It's concrete snowboarding. It's absolutely incredible. It's my new favourite sport. No, it's never going to overtake skateboarding. It's actually kind of pretty equal to it at the moment. I've sort of divided my time between these two wonderful activities. But yes, Amputee Adele, a 37-year-old amputee, learning to freeboard and hopefully eventually learn to snowboard using the Freeboard. You've been watching me fall over and over and over, and I hope that you can join me in another video where I will be learning to freeboard and do other exciting things with the Freeboard. Hopefully take it to the skate park and the pump track and all sorts of other good stuff. Peace, one love. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. You can subscribe for more awesome videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. You have been watching Amputee Adele, as I said. 2 crutches, 1 leg, maximum effort, or just 1 leg, 1 prosthetic leg, maximum effort. Over and out, guys, and we'll see you very soon in another video. Ciao!
Hoy pienso en qué pasó y cómo me afectó las horas que pasé en aquel bus. No entiendo bien por qué mi abuelo distraído se bajó sin mí. Yo seguí. Acapulco no era un lugar